Okay.
Actually, no, the painted white start is pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Um,
White start's really nice. And even the cards and all, they could look to keep that, and that's probably your forest sorted for the rest of the
I don't know.
game.
I would go Cardinal Ibis and try and get the migratory bird probably.
Interesting. You a fan of the migratory birds?
I'm not a fan, but it does give them two birds in either habitat. The hawk is not
Yeah.
terrible as well. We all know the broadwing hawk gets more kills than other predators.
100%. Yeah, always reliable. And given
The,
this,
the se-
given the last hawk in game two, this is gonna be even better than that one. So
yeah, I mean the Ibis is going to be easy to play with
yeah,
the painted white start. I don't know. It
100%.
just seems like a good start.
Mm.
Um, there
Yeah,
is the yellow-billed cuckoo in the tray, which is also a good bird.
yeah. I mean, you make an interesting point with the sparrow. I mean, it's one of those where you look at those end of round goals, and it's perfect for all of them. It's going to help with that birds in the habitat in the first two. It's going to help with your ground nest birds in that third one, but it could potentially help in that fourth round. It's got 5 egg spaces, so if you get it in that right habitat, and suddenly if you're able to, I mean, even if it just wins you 3 of those end of round goals, that can be a huge point difference, especially in a 2-player game. So yeah, it will be interesting to see if they do pick it up.
I mean, this one is probably my favorite migratory bird, if I'm being honest, because it's 5 X spaces and it's at least worth a couple points.
Yeah, I'd probably put it between this one and the Song Sparrow. I think you're right. This one obviously it does get you points.
I'm
Couple
not
of
sure
things.
about this.
Bluebird is interesting. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that myself either. I think the fact
Oh,
that they
wood
have
duck.
kept that. Oh, there we go, wood duck.
Oh, wood duck. If you can get the cuckoo down, that's excellent.
Yeah, yeah.
Wood
Well,
duck warbler.
I was going to say keep the warbler as well because that's going to give you those bold nest spaces. So, 100%. Yeah. I'll stop saying whatever I was going to say about that double bird because yeah, as soon as the wood duck comes up, makes things a lot more interesting.
Yeah, wood duck warbler and the cuckoo would be a slow but pretty excellent start, especially if you can get the warbler down in the grassland
Yeah.
for round one.
Yeah, I mean, I think the worry with trying to get that cuckoo down is just the number of grubs you need, especially with the warbler at the moment, and that bird feeder isn't looking great. So it would take a few turns of cycling through that, but absolutely, those are some big point birds, and the cuckoo and the warbler combined are going to get you lots of eggs, and the wood duck sorts you for both food and cards. So they may be looking at the flycatcher, which is an interesting one. Probably,
I think they're looking at the flycatcher if they're also looking at the cuckoo, but I'm not sure. I don't like having birds that don't give you points in the wood duck engine.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a waste of space, but it is going to make his start a bit faster.
Yeah, I generally don't like birds that give you food when you're pairing with the wood duck, because I think if you do have wood duck in the forest, you're going to be gaining a lot of food anyway, so you probably don't need any more from your bird powers. I think you're right, you want something that's going to get you points, so you want like cached food from a nuthatch, or you want something that's going to get you tucked cards. I mean, ideally you want something that gets you eggs, because that's what you always miss out from with the forest engine. But yeah, I think extra food is probably not the thing you need when you're building up a wood duck engine.
Zephyr is probably looking at snatching that first end round goal with the bluebird. Actually, I don't think it's worth it because
No.
I mean I've had a lot of games where even with the grassland and round goal, people just end up with 0 birds in the grassland because it's not the priority at the start.
No, I think it's a good point. Your priority in that first round is getting something in your forest and getting something in your wetlands. You don't really need to build up that grasslands unless you are having something like a hummingbird or a barn swallow or something that's going to actively get you resources or more points. It's probably not something you'd look to go for.
I also definitely don't agree with not keeping the water bird because the ibis was a pretty decent bird. It's 8 points. It's kind of easy to play, and if you play it straight away, it might get you a couple kills.
Yeah, I mean the only thing I can imagine is that maybe they're thinking that sparrow is going to be enough. But you're right. I think the sparrow combined with the ibis could have been a good option because you are going to get those 2 cards anyway, and you're not feeling like you're giving up eggs for that. But yeah, I can only assume they're going to go for food a couple of times here, and then use that double bird to play the migratory bird. But that always feels like a bit of an odd move to me, especially in this first round.
They might be keeping. I mean, Captain Awesome might have kept the flycatcher just to guarantee Viticulturalist, but I don't know, man. Viticulturalist is pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
100%. If you have a wood duck engine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the wood duck's already won towards it, and you think of all the amazing birds that pair with the wood duck. The pleated woodpecker being the obvious one, but there's some of those tucking birds as well, like the house finch, the American robin as well. They all eat the cherry. So yeah, you're almost guaranteed to hit that lower tier on the viticulturalist. Ooh. And give yourself lots of options for hitting that higher one as well.
Decent pick actually here, because you could play the nutcatcher and take the cuckoo next turn.
Yeah, that's a good point. And yeah, being that bowl nest, it is going to help. So yeah, I'm a bit surprised they didn't go for the cuckoo. I think certainly as soon as you pick up that woodpecker in particular from the deck, you probably look at that and think, right, I can afford to discard that. So yeah, you can take the risk obviously sometimes with taking something from the tray and then going for the deck is that you get something nicer from the deck. But yeah, I think I'm surprised they went deck there. I think cuckoo is a really nice option to have alongside the wood duck.
Mm-hmm. I mean, definitely now that they have. Is that a joke about my accent again?
I feel bad for you. You're not going to be able to get away from it. Okay, so they kept the double bird, which is interesting. I'm not really sure.
And they threw away the nutcatcher, which is also interesting.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit like they're being blinded by the bonus card here and thinking, oh, it's a bird that eats cherries, I'll keep it, and kind of doing that for every single bird that comes up. But yeah, and there's another cherry bird. Oh, and the barn swallow as well. Now,
pivot.
Do you pivot? Do you pivot? I think you pivot.
I mean, it's unironically a very good opportunity to pivot here with the barn swallow.
Definitely, yeah. I think they are going to need eggs at some point, and if they do run that wood duck, they're not going to be short of cards. But yeah,
if you do pivot, I would keep the woodpecker.
But they've chosen not to. So, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they play out, because they'll want something in their grasslands, and they could potentially, look to get something for this end of round goal. I am interested that saephir's not gone for the grebe. I do wonder if this is kind of similar to game one, where they kind of had a plan in their head, which was, I'm going to play the Cassin's Finch, and then didn't even really consider anything else. So they didn't look at the tray and think to draw that instead, because they've not got anything really as a wetland. So that grebe is such a strong option.
There's also the fact that there's no way Captain Awesome is going to take the grebe.
Yeah, I mean, he might do just as a pure denial, but I think once you see this happen and your opponent had a chance to take it and didn't, you can only assume in your head, well, they've probably got a better option themselves, or maybe they're holding on to, Franklin's Gala or killed it.
It is hard to deny. With a wood duck.
Yeah, definitely.
Why would you not take Fishery Manager and then grebe? That's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah, because Enclosure Builder, they've only got the white start down, and potentially, I mean, with these migratory birds, for me, it just feels like the longer you leave it, the less worth playing they are. You want to play that either turn 1 or turn 2 and maximise the usage that you're getting out of it. If you're not playing that, they're probably not going to play that till the last turn.
No, they're going to play it to do the.
They'll do it for this. They'll do it for the end of round goal. But if you're already playing it at the end of the first round, you're not actually going to get any use of it until round 2, and so that's an entire round that you could have been using it and gaining efficiency from your turns that you're missing out on.
Losing a bit of the utility of migratory birds. Migratory birds, one of the good things about it is that you can play it without an egg cost and then move them to a habitat where you already had one bird.
Yeah, and that kind of looks like what they're doing here, but why? Unless
looks like they're going to take the grebe.
Yeah, I think so, because they have got the grubs to play it at least. But yeah, I can only imagine that they're gonna draw cards. They'll move the sparrow over. They can get the grebe down, and then move the sparrow back, and suddenly you're getting 4 cards discarding 1, which is strong,
and
but yeah.
They might be looking at the whooping crane as well, just because it is a ground nest. It does the enclosure builder.
Yep, and it's going to help with that next end of round goal as well, potentially. So, yeah, that might be something to look at. I mean, if I'm Captain Awesome, that's a bird I'm looking at picking up. Because if you've got a wood duck and you are running, even if they just get a second forest bird down and they're able to get a good amount of food, that whooping crane's going to be so easy to get down. These are the kind of birds you look to fill your wetlands out when you are running a wood duck engine, because you don't need it for brown powers. You can fill it out with those white powers that are gonna either get you a lot of points or get you bonus cards instead.
Actually, both of them should definitely grab the cuckoo.
Yeah.
Because they both have a cup nest now.
Yeah, I think as soon as you see Captain Awesome start to build up their grasslands, and I think particularly if this swallow goes down now, then you know that your opponent, if they're committing with strong brown powers in the grasslands, they wouldn't do that if they're not going to activate them a lot. So, I'm not sure about this.
What is it doing?
He's considering going for cards, but I think if he is going to pick up cards, the cuckoo's the one to pick up, not the crane.
I mean, he can snatch both if he takes food. He can take the cuckoo, the whooping crane, and throw away the fly.
I don't get why you draw cards there. In what way is drawing cards better than gaining food?
Taking food, it is not.
Because if you gain food, you get the card.
Food. That's a misplay. That's a joke. He's joking.
Yeah, I think most times on these kinds of streams, I try and find a reason or a rationale why a certain move might be made, because sometimes you can justify it. Maybe they were taking a bit of a risk, or gambling on trying to get this. But yeah, I think you do just have to put that down to a misplay. They were thinking for a long time, so I can only imagine they completely forgot they even had the wood duck and that they can get cards from their forest. So yeah.
Ooh.
Another pink power.
Could get both.
Absolutely could, but I don't think they are. I think they want this end around goal. But yeah, you're right. You go for food here, and you get rid of the flycatcher, and you get those 2 pink powers.
This game is stressing me out now.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where it does go from here. I mean, I still feel like Captain Awesome is in a strong position. Just from the brown powers, these are 3 clear A-tier birds they've got down.
I mean, having a hybrid grassland forest engine is not bad at all, just because getting eggs when you have a wood duck engine can be pretty hard.
Yeah.
And the woodpecker now is pretty good because he does give him caches.
No. Yeah, I feel like the play there was to tuck the flycatcher and take that woodpecker, because you could get that down straight away. You need to get that second forest bird down, and like you said, it's going to get you cached food. That's points, but it's just unlocking that second food from your forest. So yeah, that's a bit of a shame that's been left there. I can only imagine they're going to force down the flycatcher here.
Especially because food is not a problem for them now that they also have the Phoebe.
No, exactly. So if you did get that woodpecker down, you're getting 2 food from your forest as well as the cards from the wood duck. But you're right. Anytime you're laying eggs, you're getting those extra grubs from the Phoebe. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame. I feel like it is blinded by the bonus card. I want to get these cherry birds down because I want to max out the viticulturalist. But yeah, the woodpecker certainly to me feels like it would have been the stronger play at this point.
The thing is, he has 4 birds down, 3 of them are viticulturists. Yeah. He's not really pressed to do it right now.
No, not at all. You got the whole game really, and like we said before, there's plenty of these strong birds that meet the viticulturalists that you could easily throw down at the end of the game. So yeah, it's an odd one to focus on so early, because it is normally pretty easy to max that out, especially when you've got something like the wood duck and you're cycling through so many cards. You're able to cycle through and keep the ones that meet it. So yeah, some slightly odd decisions here, to say the least. And it looks like we have a bingo. I'm not sure what it was that.
Wait, can you have diagonal bingos? I don't know. I don't play bingo.
Oh, you're clearly not old enough if you haven't played any bingo. No, I think it must be too much focus on the bonus card. Yeah, so congratulations. We ticked it off before end of round 2 this time, so we're doing well. Okay.
Oyster Catcher is a good pick. Ooh.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, that is so good. I mean,
but what do you get rid of? You got to get rid of one.
You get rid of probably the Queen.
Yeah, I mean you want to keep the House Finch because viticulturalist. Gonna max that out already, probably with just 5 birds down. But yeah.
I mean, you can go full grassland if you keep the no.
Yeah, I don't know. My first instinct is probably lean towards the crane. I think unless they are just going to go full forest here and just rely on that goldeneye for eggs. You look at what saephir's got. I don't think they're really building up anything that strong in the grassland that means they're going to be laying a lot of eggs. So, you kind of have to think in your head, okay, how many eggs can I expect from this goldeneye? Am I going to get 5 or 6? How many is it going to be? Is it worth more than a bonus card? I don't know. It's a tricky one.
It's not an action they can afford to not take, basically. Also, the thing is, Oyster Catcher is a really good pick because if they play a wetland bird, take 2 cards including the Oyster Catcher, then they can get a bunch of not so good cards and just carry on using the grassland engine.
Yeah, or even, we saw it on that last turn so many times with the Wood Duck. You draw too many good cards at once, so you kind of want to have these not so good birds in your hand as just like something to get rid of, because you have to discard with that Wood Duck. So if you draw 2 good cards and you do have something to discard, then that's fine. You can get rid of that instead. But yeah, so many times you run into that problem of not wanting to discard anything, but you have to. So it's a tricky decision to be in.
I hope he's not keeping the Waxwing just because it's a viticulturalist.
I did worry a bit there because you're almost certainly going to get that House Finch and that maxes it out. And yeah, once you've hit that upper threshold, it doesn't matter how many you get. You could play 10 cherry birds; it's not going to help you anymore. So I think they did at least make the right decision there in getting rid of the Waxwing.
Wilson Snipe is also good if he does build up his grassland. Just because, from his position, if he has 2 token dwarves, he doesn't care about getting good cards, he just cares about drawing a lot of cards.
Yeah, I think once you get that House Finch down, particularly if they do go for it in the grasslands, then you can just run grasslands. You don't really care what you get, you're just tucking cards for points, so that's a nice pull on the bonus card. I think they were going to play that House Finch anyway, so yeah, that's just going to get them a couple of extra points.
Just from the birds they're getting, it seems it's Captain Awesome's game to lose here.
I think it has to. Yeah.
They've been doing weird plays turn after turn, but they still have so many good birds and so many good options.
Yeah, you kind of you just look at saephir's board, and they've only got like 10 or 11 points down on the board, and not a lot of tucks. Only got 1 egg down. You look over at Captain Awesome and you think, okay, they're basically guaranteed to max out that viticulturalist. That's already 7 points. They're going to have 4 points from the bird counter as well. They've got loads of birds down already. They hit that first end of round goal. So yeah, it does kind of feel like they are in a stronger position. They've got much stronger brown powers down. So yeah, I think you're right. It is kind of their game to lose at this point.
Vero is a good pick if he does come into the grassland.
Ooh.
Oh. Okay, that works as well.
Do you pivot to Raven at this point?
I don't know. I feel like you could have just had a grassland forest hybrid and that would be better than having the Raven.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because by the time I'd imagine they might look to get this snipe down just to tie the end of round goal. That wouldn't be a terrible move.
But I think they should have, if they got on the snipe down last turn, they could have snatched the Vero, which is, I've said it last time, it's a really good bird.
Yeah.
But it seems to me like Captain Awesome is just like taking cards just to try and get more guidance on what he should commit to.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea in some cases. I think looking at lots of cards early on in particular can help guide you, because what you don't want is to draw a couple of cards, commit to something, and then draw other cards, which means it would have been better for you to do something else. If you can spend those more turns drawing the cards until you get a fuller picture of what's available to you, and then make that decision. But yeah, I think it will be interesting to see what they do with the Raven. It is very easy in this game to get a Raven at this point in the game, and like the panic bells just go off because you think, oh my god, it's a Raven, best card in the game, I need to get this down. But in this case, it might not actually be the right play for them, just because they have got such a strong situation in the forest. But I think they are
certainly. I mean,
they are forcing it down here.
Yeah, they can play the Raven and the House Finch, which is decent.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad point. They can keep the food, and they'll have enough eggs as well for that House Finch. So that's going to get them, what's that going to be? 5 points a turn, and you're cycling through cards and you're getting food. So it's not a bad.
It also means they can start skipping the Phoebe if they want.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you probably would if you've got a Raven, but I think you look at what your opponent is setting up and you think, well, they're basically swapping between drawing cards from the deck and getting food. So giving them the occasional worm from the Phoebe is probably not the end of the world. But yeah, you give yourself that option at least of not having to activate that, because you'll get so much food from the Raven anyway. Yeah,
I mean, Zephyr kind of has not much going for him at this stage of the game. He does still have the Bluebird and the Indigo Bunting, which is not bad.
Yeah, I mean, do you go for that? I think you could. I think they were looking at going for the Oyster Catcher, but they don't need to for the centre round goal. I think, yeah, bit of a shame on the reroll there, but I think they can. Are they going to be a food short? Because I think that would be a nice move if they could go Bluebird and Bunting. That's a big point turn to play, and suddenly you're unlocking that extra egg availability when you do activate your grasslands. But you're giving yourself that food potential as well, so that could have been a strong move. But potentially, I guess they could go with the House Wren instead. That's a bit cheaper.
The House Wren, I mean, you would look at playing both. Yeah. The House Wren does do full web expert.
Yeah, absolutely.
So does the Oyster Catcher actually. So the Oyster Catcher is good for them as well.
Yeah, I think they'll look to get them both down. I think they were maybe considering rushing the Oyster Catcher, but they already had that end of round goal in the bag. They'll probably want to get it down at least this round, because again, it's going to meet this end of round goal with the ground nest. But
yeah, that bird for 100%. Captain Awesome, who's starting on this one?
I think Saephir's starting. Yeah,
I don't even think Zephyr can afford to take the catbird.
No, I don't think they can. Sometimes I think you can. You can spend a turn. Wow.
Ooh, that's tough actually.
Yeah, because whatever you take, you're going to leave a big point, 8-point bird to your opponent.
No, but I mean the
I don't know. Yeah, it's tricky.
I think you have to take the puffin.
Yeah.
Just because you can't let Captain Awesome get the puffin.
I think that was my first thought.
And hope he leaves you the cowbird.
And I imagine that he will, because he's going to go 8 points from the horned owl. I want that. So
yeah. Maybe
he is thinking about it.
Short-sighted.
Yeah, it's. I think he can afford to leave that owl, because especially if he gets that House Finch down, that's going to be so many turns cycling through cards. He's still got the best part of 2 rounds left. You don't necessarily need to get the big point bird now. As long as you get it at some point. And he is going to have enough turns cycling through that you can expect he's going to hit a big point bird or something that's going to get him a bonus card. So, yeah, I think denying the cowbird in this position is probably the better move, and hopefully is the one that they're going to do. Yep. Okay.
I'm so relieved they finally made a play I agree with.
It's only taken 2 rounds. We have a play that both commentators could agree with. No, but I think that's right. It's not a bird they're going to play, but at this point they just need cards.
They forgot about the House Finch.
Well, but are they going for the catbird?
Yeah.
It looks like they are. I think you take the 2 cherries here. I think you tuck probably the cowbird, draw the catbird, and then you can get the grub. Oh, no. Take the cat bird.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
You got it.
There we go. It's another cherry bird as well, so that viticulturist. They're going to get so many points from that. But yeah, I think now they can play both of those in the next 2 turns, and that's going to be a huge point scoring engine they've got in the grasslands that I think saephir at this point just can't really compete with.
The amount of commentator stress is hilarious. You know why there's so much commentator stress is because Captain Awesome is just keep doing the wrong moves.
It's okay. I think he's doing the right things here. So certainly getting that cat bird, 100%. That's what I would have done.
I mean, he's solid now.
Yeah.
I don't even think he can lose that game.
No, I think you get these birds down. He's probably gonna have to go for eggs or go for cards one more time just to at least get enough. Because really, you don't want one bird when you're cycling through, because eventually you're going to hit something good, and potentially in the middle of that tucking action, and then you end up missing on some tucks. Yeah. So they'll probably have to draw cards once more. But I think that's okay.
They can play the cat bird first, so because they have 2 eggs and the food for it. Take eggs once and then throw an egg to get more birds.
Yeah, I think that's what I'd do. The snipe is nice and probably one that they would prefer to play, but you can tuck the snipe and make sure that you take that black turn as your last card, and that's still a good option to get down.
Snipe first. I was thinking snipe first, but if you play snipe first, you lose a point on the cat bird.
Yep.
It might actually be a better option. Yeah, snipe first, and then you delay the cat bird by 1 turn. That's only 1 point you're missing, but the snipe is so much better for Captain Awesome than it is for saephir, and it is a 5-point bird for 1 food.
Yeah, I guess you kind of, like you say, you lose that point from the cat bird, but I think you probably gain that back, like you say, by playing the snipe. I think the other option would have been that turn in the tray, but that's only 4 points. So yeah, it be interesting to see what they do. I hope they're not going to skip any of the tucks, because assuming they're going to use the cat bird to copy the tucks, that's 3 points they miss out on by not tucking that snipe. So I think it has to go. See what you get from the deck. And yeah, you've always got that turn in the tray as kind of your last resort here.
Yeah. Take 2 cards from the deck. If they're bad, take the turn.
Exactly.
They're looking really good either way.
Yeah, I think they are. So I think saephir's gone for that triple play. So they did go for the wren and the bluebird to get that bunting down. It did take a few turns getting the right food for that. But yeah, I think that's not a bad option. Obviously a big point play. House wren, nice meeting the food web expert, and yeah, they at least have something in their grasslands now, so they can afford to lay eggs and actually get some decent points, as well as food as well. So I'll be interested to see if they do go for the puffin and try and get that down. Obviously, they do have lots of egg space, but that bird feeder's not looking great for a bunting at the moment.
Oh, okay. That's a slightly better draw than the turn.
Yeah. And because they drew it now, they can get the right food for it. So they can make sure they take the rodent and the fish. You skip the tuck here, and you take that grub from the Phoebe. Again, we have another play that the commentators agree with.
I mean, I was just going to say, saephir is actually not doing bad at all here. He looked to be doing terrible in round 2. But now, if he gets a good bonus card with the puffin, he has a decent egg engine. He just needs a 6 ground nest bird, and he's gonna beat both his bonus cards.
Yeah, I think it is gonna come down to that puffin. They lost the first end of round, but they did manage to win this second one, and they look pretty much guaranteed to win end of round 3 and 4 as well. So that's always a big impact that you can make in a 1v1 game. So yeah, I think if they can get some food from the bunting, maybe they'll get 1 grub that's in the feeder, and just try and get that puffin down, hope for a nice bonus card, but otherwise just try and maximise on eggs, because they have got so many egg spaces at the moment.
And the migratory bird actually really good this game for saephir.
Yeah, I think it is kind of doing as I expected. It works with all of these end of rounds. I think it has helped to score them points in at each of these end of round goals. And yeah, it's unlocking extra eggs at the end of the game here, which is always nice when you've got the space for it. So yeah, I think they've really maximised the potential since they got it down. It maybe did go down a little bit late, but I think they have still managed to get some good usage out of it. So not a great card draw there from Captain Awesome, but to be honest, I don't think it really matters what they draw. They just needed something.
I mean, his endgame is looking pretty straightforward from now on.
100%. Just lay eggs, cycle through cards. Maybe you keep the blue heron up your sleeve and hope that last card.
Yeah, blue heron's really good.
Yeah, I think at this point you just run that grasslands. He's going to get so many points from it. He can probably skip the raven a few times because he's not actually going to need that much food. And yeah, you just cycle through cards with the tucking powers until you get something good. He's almost guaranteed to draw something good from all these turns, laying eggs and cycling through cards. So yeah, I think he's looking in a really strong position.
It's going to depend a bit on what Saephir does as well, because I think he should definitely take the Great Blue Heron. But I don't think... Well, I'm not entirely sure if Saephir is going to take any more cards. The Ahinga is still in the bird tray here as a play with the Great Blue Heron for the last turn.
Yeah, it's not a bad option. I think it's kind of similar to what we were talking about before with the turn when it was in the tray. You don't want to take it straight away because you then you need something to tuck. I mean, that wild turkey that's come up is also a nice option just on its own. Playing in that forest, but yeah, I think he kind of just has to lay eggs a few times, cycle through, and hopefully you get something good to go with that heron. I really don't see saephir drawing cards again, but yeah, so they did go for the puffin. Not amazing. Omnivore, normally one of the strongest bonus cards, but yeah, when you draw it at the end and you only get 2 points, it's not great. So I think yeah, I do wonder, maybe they might be tempted by the turkey in the tray. That is going to be their 7th or 6th, I should say, ground nest bird for their bonus card, and obviously it is 8 points on its own.
Maybe, but they do struggle to actually get the food for it, and they could just play the turn. Like turkey would be one turn taking cards, one turn taking food, and then playing the turkey. Yeah,
I think you at this point they are better off just laying eggs. They get 4 points a turn, and then you play that Forster's turn at the end, and you max out your bonus card, and that's probably the most that they can really sort of squeeze out of this engine at this point. Yeah,
I definitely think Captain Awesome wins this game.
Yeah, I feel like he's looking in a strong position. Interesting that he's gone for the Ahinga now.
Yeah, a bit hasty maybe.
Yeah, I thought when I saw him take those 2 fish, I thought, oh, he's gambling that he's going to get, like Woodstalk or King Rail or something like that. Just have the fish in your pocket in case you do draw it. But yeah, I wouldn't be playing cards now because that leaves you with nothing to tuck. You want to be playing birds on that very last turn, really. Otherwise you're missing
I would have
points.
taken the 2 fish just so I can play the Ahinga on the last turn. Because now he doesn't even need the Raven anymore. He just throws the worm and get a free worm every time.
Yeah, exactly.
5, 6, 7, 8 point engine.
Yeah, he's got enough food where he can start discarding, and he's got loads of egg space, so that's not going to be a problem at all. Yeah, bit of a shame.
He can still do the same with the Grebe.
Yeah, that could work as well.
But it is a worse bird. So.
Yeah, it's only a point, and certainly it's not worth skipping those tucks just to play the Ahinga. You want to be getting all those tuck points if possible. You don't really want to be missing out on those. So, and yeah, like we said, it wasn't really a bird that saephir was going to look to pick up, so I think he could have been safe in leaving that as long as possible, picking it up on that last turn, and then playing it in that double play with the heron. Alright, what are they going to do? Okay, so they are copying the tuck.
Yeah, okay, that's the correct play, making sure both your tucking birds have the same amount of tucks.
I wondered if you'd pick up on that.
That's how you recognize a professional.
Yeah, you don't want to leave one of them hanging. You gotta give equal treatment for all of your tucking birds. Don't make one of them feel left out by having less tucks on it. yeah.
I don't think there's anything to think about here. You just carry on doing.
Again, you can leave that because you know that your opponent's not going to draw that.
They already did that mistake once and got bailed out with the
Yeah. Oh, well, does that count as being bailed out again with another water bird? I know it's again slightly weaker, but
they're just gonna get progressively weaker.
yeah, they'll draw the kingfisher, and then something worth 3 points is going to appear instead. So, oh yeah, slightly odd. I think, yeah. The only thing I can think is maybe they're going to play them now and try and win this last in the round goal, but I don't think they can. I think saephir, even if they do spend a turn playing that forcer's turn in their hand, I think they're still gonna have enough eggs to max this out. So yeah, I'm not too sure about this. I think sacrificing the points from those tucks is not worth
Yeah.
you know, just doing that just to win the end of round goal. It doesn't feel worth it to me.
I feel a little bit bad for Zephy because I feel like Captain Awesome's made so many mistakes this game.
Yeah, there have been some interesting decisions. You know, the
interesting decisions.
just me putting it nicely. But yeah, I think, you know, when you have a strong engine like this, you probably can afford to make a few more mistakes than you otherwise would. You know, when you have a raven and so many tucking birds, it gives you that insurance to fall back on, really.
They kind of consistently picked up like top tier birds every time.
Yeah, like you say, every time it's been discard or tuck one of my wetland birds, another one's appeared in the tray. So yeah, they've not really not been burnt by that yet. So but you know, they still haven't played these birds. They are mulling it over. You know, do I lay eggs one more time before committing to this? So yeah, we'll see what they do here.
He's trying to figure out if he can actually get the end of round goal.
Well, I mean, he acknowledged after game 2 that he made the wrong decision on his penultimate turn. So I wonder if he's having flashbacks here and thinking, I better not do it 2 games in a row. You know, if there's points on the table, I want to make sure that I'm maximising it. You know, I don't want to leave anything out there. So he's thinking long and hard about this. But hopefully, fingers crossed, he'll make the right decision this time.
It might actually be worth playing the Plague's Grip on its own to get the end of round goal, but also get the tax. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, that blue heron is effectively going to be 3 points because you're going to be paying 2 extra eggs.
Yeah, and you get 3 tucks.
You'd get 3 points from tucks. So it's going to be the same in that sense. But obviously, you're right, having that grebe. I mean, first of all, it's going to have enough egg spaces on its own, I think. It just really depends what saephir does. But yeah, it's you know, taking less eggs from you, so you're already going to have more options at least for getting those eggs down. But I think they do look to be going for this double play here, so they're going to miss a few points from the tucks. I don't think it's going to matter. I think they will probably still have enough.
If he's going to get what, maybe 5 series.
Yeah, I think saephir can get to. I think they can only get to 4 because if they play this turn, that'll take them down to 8 eggs. They'll then lay another 4 and get up to 12 total, so they can get 4 in each habitat.
Yeah, but if they have to skip on the turn to get the end of round goal, they should definitely skip on the turn.
Yeah,
to get the end of round goal.
Yeah, I think either way, they're going to lay eggs here. You know, that turn doesn't need to go down now. They can make a judgment call, and this is kind of where actually going last in this final round is a bit of a luxurious position because you can wait and see. You know, see what your opponent does, and if laying eggs is the better option and wins that end of round goal, then they can choose to do that. But if they don't need to, then yeah, playing that turn is going to get them more points.
Yeah, there was no point in playing the Grieber. Sort of agree with. I mean, I do agree with Kakari. Hey, he's not going to get an extra series from it.
No.
And realistically, the only difference it makes is that he gets less food in the case of a tie.
I mean, if this comes down to a tiebreaker, I will be very surprised.
They're currently 20 points apart. So.
Yeah, it did feel like it's probably going to be about a 20-point difference, just purely from, you know, points on the board. Number of eggs is going to be about the same, but the number of tuck cards that Captain Awesome is going to have is so many more than what saephir's managed. So yeah, it feels like it's going to be a strong win here for Captain Awesome. Certainly some mistakes in there, I think, that they can look back on and improve on. But yeah, I think they've still managed to do enough to win this game. And really, that's all you need to do. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how you win. It just matters that you do win. Okay.
So let's see, can saephir make like 20 points in one go?
Yeah, stranger things have happened, but from this point, I think not. I think they can just lay eggs. They will just about, I think, get to 6 if they lay them in the right nests. They've got to be careful here. I think they can get to 6 in each habitat. They don't need to lay any in the wetlands. Yeah, there you go. So as long as they leave the sparrow and don't accidentally move it, they should be fine. And yeah, there you go. So they've managed to nick the end of round goal at the end. And here we go. Points going to count up. I think it is probably a bit of a formality here, but and there we go. Captain Awesome does skip ahead. You always skip ahead when you feel confident that you've won. If you're sweating it out, then you might leave them count. But yeah, 100 points is always a good score. So congratulations to Captain Awesome, who will go through into the next round, having brought it back from losing game 1. They managed
Who wins
to win
in
2
a
games.
row after losing on, what was it, Friday?
Yep.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was whenever it was last week. Losing that game 1 is always hard, but yeah, they did well to bring it back in games 2 and 3. So congratulations, and yeah, I think we will. I'll just take them.
Finish the bingo card. We have LC on that normally.
Here we go. Okay, so I'll bring both players.
Oh, that's a win for us. Unfunny joke still unticked.
Excellent. That's what you want to see.
Commentators disagree on the play, still unticked.
For now.